Indeed we do. So from mother and cub to the presumed father, the spots that are in the tree with a dangling carcass is not Imvula like I was talking about this morning, but is indeed Tingana. Now underneath him is also one of the uncles for that little cub, and no, not her brother, but little Hosanna is down at the bottom. We can't see him at the moment. He was moving around in the bottom there just now, but he can't see him. He's busy sleeping, and as you can see, Tingana is also fairly fast asleep as well, with what looks like a female impala carcass that he's eaten quite a bit of already. But for any of you that were worried as to whether Tingana is able to move, that goes to show right there that if he can climb a tree and get to food like that, then his paw is definitely on the mend, which is exciting stuff. Now, before we go any further, I'm just super excited that because of all the people that have kind of joined me in trying to look for Thandi, I think Scotty's put in the most work out of all of us, and so he really did deserve to see it, and I'm excited that he got such an amazing visual. Actually, Ferg and I were watching the live broadcast from here because we're right near Chitwan, so we get good signal on our cell phone so we can watch what's going on, and it was so cool to see. That little cub is amazing, and Scotty had the most epic sighting, so I'm super happy for him. Like I say, he thoroughly deserves it, and Senzo too. Senzo has been with me through countless leopard sightings, and I know he enjoys them. He used to be a lion-only man, but we're slowly but surely starting to convince him, which is good news. But you can see Tingana is just facing us. Every now and then his eye opens because this hardy-dar that is shouting at him and Hosanna, the two of them are obviously causing this hardy-dar to be a little on the upset side, so lots of shouting there, which is just making Tingana kind of pop his head up every now and then. But he looks very happy and very comfy with himself, and I'm sure he's absolutely delighted to be having a meal. But there you can see it's definitely him now that he lifts his head like that. That is the typical Tingana face, that kind of elongated face, and then, you know, the way that he just, I don't know, there's something about him that just indicates Tingana when I see him. Interestingly enough though, he seems to be super tolerant of Hosanna. Now, I know he's got a kill, and he's lying on top of it, but I haven't seen him once growl. Hosanna has been moving around at the bottom, and he hasn't at all made any noise or done anything to indicate that he's upset that Hosanna is actually even anywhere nearby. It's an amazing relationship that Hosanna is somehow managing to try and kind of figure out with Tingana, and the fact that Tingana is being so sort of allowing, I don't know what the word is, relaxed with Hosanna is pretty incredible. Mia, you're wondering when Tingana made this kill. Uncertain. It looks like he's eaten quite a bit, so I'm not 100% sure. He was spotted this morning with this kill, so whether or not it was last night or yesterday, I can't be sure. He seems to have eaten something. What is interesting is that there was also tracks for a female here, so I have a theory that maybe Kuchava was here, and theoretically maybe he stole it from her, because her tracks apparently are going up and down. I've heard some guinea fowl alarm calling a little bit further to the east of us, and so maybe he stole it from somebody else. Maybe he made it himself. Like I say, very difficult to say, and we're quite far. They're quite deep inside Torchwood, so this is the closest we can get to where they are, and it's difficult to say how much meat is actually on that carcass. I mean, I can see a neck and I can see two legs, but the legs have definitely been fed upon, and so I don't know how much of the rest of the body is actually been eaten. Hosanna himself only arrived just south of the boundary, slowly moving northwards towards this area. So he's not the one that killed it and Tingana stole it. It's more a situation, either a female killed it or he it maybe a day or two ago and is fed off it. I know that he was seen 2 days ago on Little Gowrie, and so it's got to have been either last night or the night before. It can't be before that, because where he was seen was quite far from this area. Also, that meat looks as though it's fairly fresh. There's a nice red tinge to it, which yesterday was quite warm and windy, would have probably dried that out a little bit, and you would have seen something like what we saw with the impala kill. Mr. Gohan, you're saying, is Tingana still tolerating Hosanna? Well, evidently yes. The fact that Hosanna is sitting at the bottom of a tree while Tingana sits there and sleeps is pretty tolerant, if you ask me. There's no aggression whatsoever. If somebody like Quarantine came here, or Anderson, or that new male, I can tell you that Tingana's reaction would be far different. He wouldn't just sit up there sleeping. He would be growling, he would be hissing, there would probably be a lot of salivating, because he would realize very quickly that that would be a major threat to him. Whereas in this particular particular situation. He doesn't have to worry at all. I think he knows Hosana is still a younger cat, and then he doesn't have to be too stressed about it, and that's why he allows it to happen. And at the end of the day, Hosana is still much smaller than Tingana, and is also not marking as much and just doesn't pose the same threat. But somewhere in there, he moved off a little bit to the right, I believe. So the guys that were there said he was at the base and then just moved slightly right into that thicket and is lying down somewhere there. So he's just in the base there somewhere. Well, maybe we'll get a visual of him just now. But the fact that Tingana is sitting there not growling is a good indication that he is fairly tolerant of his son at this stage, which is amazing to me, because it's not like Hosana is with a mother. It's not like Hosana is not a small leopard. You know, I mean, not a small leopard. He's getting bigger, and he is scent marking, and so I would have thought Tingana would have been a lot more kind of aggressive in his approach. But as you can see, he's absolutely fine with what's going on. In fact, he's more interested in us than he seems to be looking down at the leopard below where he's sitting. So interesting behavior. It will be interesting to see how it all plays out. I feel like at some point Tingana is going to put his foot down. The lack of a mother to protect Hosana and the way that he is so brazen on kills, maybe that's the secret. Maybe because Hosana is just so brazen, Tingana just doesn't really know what to do. Maybe if Hosana started to cower and started to try and sneak away, maybe that would make Tingana chase him. Difficult to say. Joy in Hong Kong, you're asking if we can please see Hosana. Like I just explained, that we are south of Torchwood, and so that is a property we cannot go into. That is an area that we do not have traversing, and so at the moment I'm sitting on the boundary and I have a very long distance visual. If Fergus zooms out and comes back to me, you'll see just how far away this leopard is. And so when Hosana lies down and goes onto the ground, it is impossible for us to see him at all. So this road here is the boundary. Unfortunately, Chitwa on our right, Torchwood on our left, and so we can't go northwards. We're just lucky that he's up in the tree that we're able to spot it. But if Hosana moves around and maybe comes out a little bit, we might be able to see him. But from where we are now, unfortunately, it's impossible to see where he is. And I know that's not ideal. Hopefully it would be nice to actually see him and see his little face again, but he's still too far away and too tucked up at the moment. But let's see. You never know. Hosana is a curious cat and he likes to move around, so we might see him kind of somewhere on the ground moving or coming up onto one of the trees somewhere to the sort of sides of where Tingana is. But at the moment, unfortunately, that's the view we've got. There's not much more I can do about it. There is in no way any sort of other way to actually see either of these individuals. Right, well, we'll sit and we'll be patient. Maybe Hosana will make an appearance. I hope so, Joy. So don't go anywhere. And while we sit and wait for the appearance of Hosana, let's go all the way across to Ralph in the Mara, who's got some other spotted creatures, but not quite as pretty as these guys.